In this episode of Flea Market Rescue, I really bought some ugly stuff, and I'm going to show you what you can do with it. Isn't it gorgeous? This box really isn't worth a whole lot, and nobody wants anything with a company name on it. So we're going to give it new life, and I'm going to show you how to arrange it. I'm sure this looked great in the 80s, but you know what? I'm not too much into apples, so I'm going to turn this into a beautiful farmhouse arrangement. It's simple, clean, and classic. So you ready to make some of this over with me? Then come on, let's do this. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you'd hit the subscribe button and make sure to ring the bell, because that way you'll get notified of any new videos that come out. And I bought this. It says $2.49, but their home goods, everything is half off. So that was great. Now, this is very old and tired, but I know that we can just make this awesome. Now, I see that these are a little raised up bumps, so I'm going to have to sand that down or else it's going to come through in the paint. So I went and got my sandpaper out and I tried to sand down some of those bumps till I ran into a problem. So I was having trouble getting this off. This is just not going to come off. So we're going to do a different strategy. And this is where this project took a whole different turn. If you remember the don't throw out your spaghetti jars video, then you'll know exactly what we're doing here. So I am just taking some of my paper clay and I'm smushing that down onto the jar. Why do my hands look like ham roll-ups? This is just not a flattering camera angle. Anyway, you're going to just keep smushing that down, and you're going to go ahead and feather out the sides, keep smoothing down the front, just push that clay down onto the jar. Add a little water if you need to smooth it out, and then once it looks like this, then we're going to go ahead and get our stamp out. Now these are IOD stamps and they are so cool to use. We're going to go ahead and use the dairy one. When I did the spaghetti jar video, that was like my highest rated video, and these stamps were just selling out like crazy. People are asking me, where can I get them? Where can I get them? So I will leave a link in the description for you. So we're going to take the stamp and we're going to push it down onto the clay, and we're going to hold it down firmly. We're going to just keep pressing that into the clay. Once that you feel that all the lettering is imprinted, then you can go ahead and pull off the stamp. It should look like this and resemble like an old type crock. So then just let that dry overnight. The next day I went ahead and I took it outside and spray painted it. Yep, that is snow you're seeing. You got to do what you got to do. And there's also a crowbar where I don't know where that came from. I'm using Rust-Oleum flat protective enamel in white. Now I'm just painting the back. You're going to need 2 coats. Once that's dry, we're going to use our Wise Owl black wax. This is the fun part. So we're going to dip our brush into the black wax, and then we're really going to just like get that black wax into all the lettering, all the nooks and crannies, and that's just going to make all that wording stand out. You also want to smear that black wax onto the whole jar so that the whole thing looks like it's old, like it's a really old crock. I'm just trying to get in the lettering a little more. Don't be afraid to wax this thing all up. Now I'm taking a cloth and I'm just kind of wiping some of that wax away so that, you know, it's just staying in the imprinted area. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to wipe the back of the jar too, just to kind of blend it a little better. So I'm noticing that some of the imprinted letters don't have enough wax deep in them. So I'm just going back and doing that, and then we're going to go ahead and wipe it off. We're doing the same process. We want for the lettering to really stand out when we wipe some of that wax off. If you feel that you have too much black wax on there and it's just not rubbing off, you can take a little clear wax and that will take it right off. So don't panic. And that's really all there is to it. And it should look something like this, an old crock with a lot of character. I'm just going to finish by taking some of this antique fabric I have. It looks really good with farmhouse stuff. I'm going to go ahead and rip a strip, and then I'm just going to tie that around our jar. Do you think we could have any more strings than what we do? Aye, aye, aye. Now just double knot that and voila. Now we're just going to add this little piece of fern to that. It's just simple and it looks really good if you add a little greenery. And there you have it. One gorgeous vintage looking crock. Now onto our second project. When I found this tray, it was the least of the ugly things that I had bought that day. However, you know, it just was nothing to write home about. It had that Brookstone logo on it. I don't even know if they're in business still. So I went home and took a little sandpaper to it and sanded that right off. Then I took it outside and I spray painted it with flat enamel white paint. It definitely needed 2 coats, and then I let that dry. After it had dried, I thought about putting a decal on it, but then I just knew I was going to put a lot of stuff in there and you probably wouldn't see it. So how do you decide what kind of things do you put together? Well, like for instance, you might want to put something white because that's going to give you like this clean, simple, crisp look, like the little white house that I found. And I found that for 99 cents at the thrift store. Then you might want to play off that by adding some greenery. Greenery always spruces everything up and just makes it look so like natural and wholesome. As you can see, I also chose a glass jar because you don't want all solids. That just kind of breaks everything up. And now what goes good with all of this? Wood, natural wood. I'm still fooling around with this house. I'm not sure what side looks better. Anyway, you get the point. This all looks so nice together, and this tray was perfect for this arrangement. Which brings us to our third and final project, the apple pitcher. Okay, so I bought this really ugly pitcher today. If you like apples, then that's great, but if you don't, I'm going to show you what you can do with this. I would not personally put this in my house, but after we get done, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. Just to let you know, I paid, let's see, $5.99 for this, and it's going to be worth so much more when we get done. So right away, we're going to spray this with that flat enamel white paint. I noticed I got a little too close with the nozzle because I see some drips, so I'm just going to wipe that and spray it again. I'm spraying the inside, and I'm also going to spray the back of this. Looks like I did it again. This took 2 coats to cover everything. Now, if you remember, back in September, I went to the Utica Antique Flea Market where I found this whole bucket full of dried hydrangeas. She sold the whole bucket to me for $5. And guess what? We're going to use them today. This is exactly what this pitcher needs, and for $5 for all of this, we're only going to use 3 little parts of it. So that was such a great deal. So keep that in mind when you go to like flea markets and things like that. So you just want to place these hydrangeas till it looks full on top. It's just a nice added touch to a white pitcher. If you like this episode of Flea Market Rescue and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. I'm Kelly Sherry, and this has been Flea Market Rescue.